Welcome to the Cheating Diaries channel. I woke up drenched in cold sweat, my heart pounding furiously in my chest. The nightmare had returned, the same one that had been haunting me for weeks. In it, I saw my wife, Elizabeth, with another man, their closeness an undeniable betrayal. Each time the dream felt so real that it left me shaken and disoriented. The day started like any other. I joined Elizabeth and our two children, Jack and Lily, for breakfast. The morning sunlight streamed through the kitchen windows, casting a warm glow on our seemingly perfect family. Elizabeth smiled as she poured coffee, and Jack and Lily chattered excitedly about their plans for the day. To anyone else, we were the picture of happiness. But underneath the surface, a storm was brewing. I had noticed the signs for a while now: the hushed phone conversations, the frequent late nights at work, and the sudden guardedness around her phone. My instincts told me something was wrong, but I pushed those thoughts aside, hoping I was just being paranoid. That afternoon, I decided to leave work early. I wanted to surprise Elizabeth and maybe catch a glimpse of her day when she thought I wasn't looking. As I drove towards downtown, my mind raced with possibilities. Perhaps she was just stressed with work, or maybe she had planned a surprise for me too. Pulling into the parking lot of a quaint cafe we often visited, I spotted Elizabeth through the large windows. She was sitting at a corner table, but she wasn't alone. Across from her was a man I didn't recognize, and they were leaning in close, their heads almost touching. My heart sank as I watched them, the scene confirming my worst fears. That evening, the tension was palpable. I tried to act normal, but I couldn't shake the image of Elizabeth with that man. After dinner, I finally confronted her. "Liz, I saw you today, at the cafe. Who is that man?" Elizabeth looked taken aback, then quickly composed herself. "Oh, that's just a colleague from work. We were discussing a project," she said, her voice steady, but her eyes betraying a flicker of uncertainty. I wanted to believe her, but the seeds of doubt had already been planted. I needed to know the truth, and I wasn't sure I could get it from her. That night, as Elizabeth slept peacefully beside me, I made a decision. The next morning, I hired a private investigator. A week later, the investigator handed me a folder filled with photos and messages. Elizabeth had been seeing this man for over a year. My world came crashing down. It wasn't just the betrayal that hurt, it was the realization that the life I thought we had was a lie. I couldn't bring myself to confront her again right away. I spent days agonizing over how to tell Jack and Lily. They were too young to understand the complexities of adult relationships, but they sensed the growing tension. I decided to wait until I had a clearer plan. As the investigation continued, another devastating blow came. The investigator revealed that I was not Jack and Lily's biological father. I felt a mixture of anger, heartbreak, and confusion. How could Elizabeth do this to me, to us? When I finally showed Elizabeth the evidence, she broke down. "I never truly loved you," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I tried, but—" Her words were like a knife to my heart. We began the grueling process of divorce, dividing our lives and deciding the future of our children. My friends and family rallied around me, providing the support I desperately needed. One evening, at a gathering organized by my best friend, I met Megan. She had an air of genuine kindness and sincerity that immediately drew me in. We started talking, and for the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of hope. As our relationship blossomed, the divorce proceedings dragged on, but I was no longer consumed by anger or sorrow. With Megan by my side, I felt ready to face whatever came next. She showed me that love could be pure and honest, and for that I was grateful. The divorce was finalized, and I moved on with Megan. A year later, I proposed to her, and she said yes. In the aftermath of Elizabeth's betrayal, I had found my true love. It was a journey marked by pain and healing, but it led me to a happiness I had never known before. The days following my decision to hire a private investigator were a blur of anxiety and dread. I kept replaying the scene at the cafe in my mind, scrutinizing every detail of Elizabeth's interactions with the unknown man. Each day felt like an eternity as I awaited the results of the investigation, my mind swirling with possibilities. At home, I tried to maintain a facade of normalcy. I played with Jack and Lily, helped them with their homework, and shared meals with Elizabeth. But the strain was beginning to show. Elizabeth noticed my distant demeanor and questioned me about it, but I deflected her concerns with vague excuses about work stress. In truth, I was barely holding it together. One evening, as Elizabeth was tucking the kids into bed, I received a call from the investigator. "We've got something," he said. My heart raced as he explained that he had collected evidence confirming my worst fears. We arranged to meet the next morning. I spent that night in restless anticipation, my mind conjuring up countless scenarios. When morning finally came, I made my way to the investigator's office. He handed me a thick envelope filled with photographs and printouts of messages. My hands trembled as I opened it. The evidence was damning. Photographs of Elizabeth with the man, intimate moments that left no room for doubt. The messages were even worse, filled with declarations of love and plans for a future together. I felt a surge of rage and betrayal. How could she do this to me? To our family? Returning home, I struggled to keep my emotions in check. Elizabeth greeted me with a smile, but I couldn't return it. I needed time to process everything before confronting her. I decided to wait until the kids were asleep. That evening, after we put Jack and Lily to bed, I sat Elizabeth down in the living room. "We need to talk," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I handed her the envelope, watching as she went through its contents. Her face paled, and she looked up at me with a mixture of guilt and fear. "I'm sorry," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I never wanted to hurt you." "But you did," I replied, my voice breaking. "Why, Elizabeth? How could you betray me like this?" She hesitated before speaking. "I don't know. I felt trapped, like something was missing. When I met him, it was like a breath of fresh air. I didn't plan for it to happen, but it did." Her words felt like a punch to the gut. I stood up, pacing the room as I tried to contain my anger. "What about Jack and Lily?" I asked. "Did you ever think about how this would affect them?" Elizabeth sobbed, burying her face in her hands. "I'm so sorry," she repeated. "I never meant for it to go this far." I didn't know what to say. The woman I thought I knew was a stranger to me now. I spent the rest of the night on the couch, unable to sleep. My mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. The following days were a struggle. Elizabeth and I barely spoke, each of us lost in our turmoil. I knew I needed to take action, but I was paralyzed by the weight of the situation. Finally, I reached out to a lawyer and started the process of filing for divorce. Telling Jack and Lily was the hardest part. They were too young to understand the complexities of adult relationships, but they sensed the tension. We sat them down and tried to explain that Mommy and Daddy wouldn't be living together anymore. Their tearful questions and pleas for us to stay together broke my heart. As the days turned into weeks, the reality of our situation began to set in. Elizabeth moved out, and we started the painful process of dividing our lives. Friends and family offered support, but it felt like nothing could ease the pain of betrayal. During this time, I kept thinking about the investigator's other revelation. I wasn't Jack and Lily's biological father. It was a cruel twist that added to my torment. I decided to confront Elizabeth about it. One evening, I asked her directly, "Elizabeth, I need to know the truth. Are Jack and Lily mine?" She looked away, her silence confirming my fears. "No," she finally admitted. "Their father is the man I was seeing." Her words shattered the last remnants of my world. I loved Jack and Lily with all my heart, but knowing they weren't biologically mine was a blow I hadn't been prepared for. Despite everything, I resolved to remain their father in every way that mattered. They needed stability and love, and I was determined to provide that. The divorce proceedings were grueling. Elizabeth and I fought over custody and finances, each of us trying to protect our interests while grappling with our emotions. It felt like a never-ending nightmare, but I pushed through it, knowing there had to be light at the end of the tunnel. Throughout this ordeal, my friends and family stood by me, offering their unwavering support. They reminded me that I wasn't alone, and their presence gave me the strength to keep going. It was during one of these gatherings that I met Megan, a woman who would change my life in ways I couldn't yet imagine. As I navigated the stormy waters of divorce, Megan's kindness and understanding became a beacon of hope. She was everything Elizabeth wasn't: honest, compassionate, and genuine. We started seeing each other, and for the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of happiness. Though the divorce dragged on, my relationship with Megan blossomed. She helped me see that there was a future beyond the pain and betrayal. With her by my side, I began to believe in love again. When the divorce was finally finalized, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I was free to start anew, and I knew exactly who I wanted to spend my future with. Megan and I grew closer, and a year after our first meeting, I proposed to her. She said yes, and I realized that out of the darkness, I had found a love more profound and real than I had ever known. The journey had been painful, but it had led me to a place of true happiness. In the end, I was grateful for the path that brought me to Megan, and I looked forward to a future filled with love and hope. The days following Elizabeth's confession were a blur. My mind was a storm of emotions: anger, sorrow, confusion. I moved through life on autopilot, struggling to maintain a sense of normalcy for Jack and Lily's sake. Each morning, I plastered a smile on my face and pretended everything was fine. But inside, I was shattered. Elizabeth and I communicated only when necessary, our interactions terse and filled with unspoken resentment. The once cozy home we shared felt cold and unfamiliar. Nights were the worst. I would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our life together, searching for signs I had missed. One evening, unable to bear the silence any longer, I confronted Elizabeth about the revelation that Jack and Lily weren't biologically mine. We were sitting at the dining table, the atmosphere thick with tension. "Elizabeth," I began, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me, "I need to understand. Why didn't you tell me the truth about Jack and Lily?" She looked down, unable to meet my gaze. "I was scared," she admitted. "I thought you would leave us if you knew." Her words stung, a reminder of the years we had spent living a lie. "I deserve to know," I replied, my voice breaking. "I've loved them as my own. I still do, but you took away my choice." Elizabeth's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you." "But you did," I said, my anger rising. "You hurt all of us." Our conversation ended in silence, the weight of our shattered lives hanging heavily between us. I knew there was no easy way forward, but I was determined to remain a constant presence in Jack and Lily's lives, regardless of the circumstances. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of legal proceedings and emotional upheaval. Elizabeth and I met with lawyers, discussed custody arrangements, and divided our assets. It was a painful and exhausting process, but necessary for us to move forward. Throughout it all, my friends and family were my rock. They provided support, advice, and a shoulder to lean on. My best friend, Mike, was particularly instrumental in helping me navigate the legal complexities. He encouraged me to stay strong and focused on what truly mattered: Jack and Lily. It was during one of our many conversations that Mike suggested I take some time for myself. "You need to clear your head, man," he said. "Why don't you come to that charity event with me next weekend? It'll be good for you to get out." I was hesitant at first, but Mike was persistent. Eventually I agreed, hoping a change of scenery might provide some much-needed relief from the chaos of my life. The charity event was held at a local community center. It was a lively affair, with music, food, and people mingling and laughing. For the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of normalcy return. Mike introduced me to several of his friends, and as the evening progressed, I found myself relaxing and enjoying the company. That's when I met Megan. She was standing by the punch bowl, engaged in conversation with a group of people. Mike called her over, and she greeted us with a warm smile. There was an immediate connection between us. Her genuine kindness and easygoing nature were a breath of fresh air. We spent the rest of the evening talking. Megan listened intently as I shared my story, offering words of comfort and understanding. She didn't judge or pity me. Instead, she made me feel seen and heard. By the end of the night, I felt a spark of hope ignite within me. In the weeks that followed, Megan and I began seeing each other regularly. Our connection grew stronger with each meeting. She was everything I needed at that moment: compassionate, supportive, and patient. She helped me see that life could still hold joy and love, even after the darkest of times. As my relationship with Megan flourished, the divorce proceedings continued. Elizabeth and I managed to reach an agreement that prioritized Jack and Lily's well-being. It wasn't easy, but we both knew it was the best decision for our children. With the legal battles behind us, I focused on building a new life. Megan was by my side, a constant source of strength and encouragement. We talked about our future and made plans, and slowly, I began to heal. One day, as we walked through the park with Jack and Lily, I realized how far I had come. The pain of Elizabeth's betrayal was still there, but it no longer defined me. I had found a love that was real and true, and I was determined to cherish it. Amid the turmoil, I discovered that life could surprise you in the most unexpected ways. Despite the heartbreak, I had been given a second chance at happiness, and for that, I was profoundly grateful. The future was still uncertain, but with Megan by my side, I felt ready to face whatever came next. Our journey was just beginning, and I was excited to see where it would lead. The initial shock of Elizabeth's betrayal and the revelation about Jack and Lily's paternity had begun to settle into a dull ache. The next steps were clear, but no less daunting. We had to navigate the treacherous waters of divorce. It was a process that promised to be as painful and grueling as the discovery of her infidelity. The first step was finding a lawyer. Mike recommended a firm known for handling complex divorce cases with sensitivity and efficiency. My first meeting with my attorney, Karen, was a sobering experience. She was professional and compassionate, yet her words underscored the harsh realities of what lay ahead. Divorces, especially ones involving infidelity and children, can be messy, she said, looking at me over her glasses. But we'll do our best to ensure the process is as smooth as possible for you and your children. We began the process of filing for divorce. Papers were drawn up, and the official notice was served to Elizabeth. Seeing her name on those documents, alongside the cold legal jargon, made everything feel even more real and irreversible. The first few meetings with Elizabeth and our respective lawyers were tense. We sat in a conference room, our lawyers speaking on our behalf, as we discussed custody arrangements, the division of assets, and the future of our children. Elizabeth seemed distant, her once familiar face now a reminder of the life we had lost. The custody of Jack and Lily was our primary concern. Despite everything, I wanted them to have a stable and loving environment. Elizabeth and I eventually agreed on joint custody. The thought of not seeing my children every day was heartbreaking, but I knew this arrangement was in their best interest. Dividing our assets was another challenge. We had built a life together, accumulated possessions, and shared financial responsibilities. Now, every item, from the house to the car to the smallest household goods, had to be accounted for and divided. The process was painstakingly detailed and emotionally draining. Amidst the legal battles, I tried to maintain a sense of normalcy for Jack and Lily. They were too young to fully understand what was happening, but they sensed the changes. I reassured them as best as I could, promising that both Mommy and Daddy loved them very much and would always be there for them. During this period, Megan became my anchor. Her unwavering support and understanding provided a refuge from the chaos. We spent time together, talking about our dreams and hopes for the future. Her presence was a balm to my wounded heart, helping me see beyond the immediate pain. One evening, after a particularly grueling day of negotiations, Megan and I went for a walk in the park. The crisp autumn air was a welcome relief, and the vibrant colors of the falling leaves seemed to symbolize the changes in my life. "How are you holding up?" Megan asked, her voice gentle. "It's tough," I admitted, "but having you by my side makes it bearable." She smiled and squeezed my hand. "We'll get through this together." As the weeks turned into months, the end of the divorce process finally came into sight. We reached agreements on all major issues, and the final papers were signed. It was a moment of bittersweet relief, freedom from a toxic situation, but also the end of a chapter of my life. On the day the divorce was finalized, I felt a mix of emotions: sadness for the family that was no more, relief that the ordeal was over, and hope for the future. I met with Karen one last time to go over the final details. "You've been through a lot," she said, "but remember, this is a new beginning." Her words resonated with me. It was indeed a new beginning, one that I would face with the strength I had gained through this experience and the love I had found with Megan. That evening, I went home to my new apartment. It was a smaller place, but it felt like home. Jack and Lily were with me, and we spent the night watching movies and eating popcorn. Their laughter filled the space, a reminder that despite everything, there was still joy to be found. As I tucked them into bed, Jack looked up at me and asked, "Daddy, are we going to be okay?" I smiled and kissed his forehead. "Yes, Jack, we're going to be just fine." With the divorce behind me, I was ready to move forward. Megan and I had plans for our future, and I was determined to build a life filled with love and happiness. The past had left its scars, but it had also taught me valuable lessons about resilience, trust, and the true meaning of family. The journey was far from over, but for the first time in a long while, I felt hopeful. The path ahead was clear, and with Megan by my side, I knew we could face whatever came our way. With the divorce finalized and the initial storm of emotions settling, I found myself in a strange new reality. The home Elizabeth and I had built together was now a memory, replaced by my new apartment. It was smaller and simpler, but it felt like a fresh start, a blank canvas where I could paint a new life. Jack and Lily were my top priority. Adjusting to a new routine wasn't easy for them, but children are resilient. I made sure our new home was filled with love and stability. We established new traditions, movie nights, weekend outings, and bedtime stories. These moments became our anchor, helping us navigate the tumultuous changes. Megan was a constant presence, her support unwavering. She understood the delicate balance of our new life and integrated herself seamlessly. She never tried to replace Elizabeth and Jack in Lily's lives, but instead became a trusted friend and a source of comfort. Her presence brought a sense of calm and hope that I desperately needed. One evening, after putting the kids to bed, Megan and I sat on the couch sipping tea and talking about our day. "How are you doing?" she asked, her eyes filled with concern. "I'm managing," I replied honestly. "It's still hard, but having you here makes a world of difference." She smiled, taking my hand in hers. "We're in this together, remember?" Her words were a balm to my weary soul. Despite the chaos and heartache, I had found someone who truly cared for me. Our relationship deepened with each passing day, and I began to see a future filled with love and happiness. My friends and family continued to be a pillar of support. They rallied around me, offering help with the kids, listening to my frustrations, and providing much-needed distractions. Mike, my best friend, was a constant presence, always ready with a joke or a word of encouragement. One Saturday afternoon, Mike and I took Jack and Lily to the park. The kids ran around, laughing and playing, their spirits seemingly unaffected by the recent upheaval. Watching them, I felt a surge of gratitude. "You're doing a great job with them, you know," Mike said, clapping a hand on my shoulder. "I hope so," I replied. "I just want them to feel loved and safe." "They do. It's obvious in the way they look at you." His words meant a lot to me. Parenting was never easy, but in the wake of everything, it had become even more challenging. Yet seeing Jack and Lily's smiles made it all worthwhile. As time went on, Megan and I grew closer. We spent weekends exploring the city, discovering new places, and making memories. She introduced me to her friends, and I found myself becoming part of a new social circle. It was refreshing and helped me rebuild my sense of identity outside of the marriage that had defined me for so long. One evening, as we walked along the waterfront, Megan turned to me, her expression serious. "I've been thinking," she began, "about us." I felt a flutter of nerves. "What about us?" "I love you," she said simply. "And I love Jack and Lily. I want to be a part of your lives officially, if that's what you want too." Her words took my breath away. I had been so focused on navigating the aftermath of the divorce that I hadn't fully allowed myself to consider a future with Megan. But now, hearing her speak those words, I knew that's exactly what I wanted. "I love you too," I replied, pulling her into a tight embrace. "And I want you to be a part of our lives, more than anything." Our relationship took on a new dimension after that conversation. We began making plans for the future, talking about moving in together, blending our lives, and even the possibility of marriage. It felt like a dream, a second chance at happiness that I never thought I'd get. Through it all, Jack and Lily adapted to the changes with remarkable ease. They adored Megan, and seeing them bond with her filled me with joy. We became a unit, a family forged through resilience and love. One evening, as we all sat around the dinner table, Lily looked up at me and asked, "Daddy, is Megan going to stay with us forever?" I glanced at Megan, who smiled warmly at Lily. "Yes, sweetheart," I said, my heart swelling with emotion. "Megan is going to stay with us forever." The journey from betrayal and heartache to healing and love had been arduous, but it had brought me to a place of profound happiness. I had found someone who loved me unconditionally, and together we were building a new life. The future was bright, and for the first time in a long while, I felt truly at peace. The scars of the past would always be there, but they were now a testament to my strength and the love that had emerged from the darkness. With Megan by my side and Jack and Lily's laughter filling our home, I knew that we could face anything the future held. Life had settled into a new, comfortable routine. Jack and Lily were thriving, and my relationship with Megan continued to grow stronger. We spent our weekends exploring the city, going on picnics, and creating new traditions. Despite the upheavals of the past, our little family had found a rhythm that worked. One Saturday morning, Megan suggested we take Jack and Lily to the zoo. It was a beautiful day, the kind where the sky was a clear blue and the sun cast a warm glow over everything. The kids were excited, their enthusiasm contagious. As we wandered through the zoo, watching the animals and enjoying the day, I felt a deep sense of contentment. Megan held my hand, and Jack and Lily ran ahead, pointing out their favorite animals. It was a day filled with laughter and joy, a stark contrast to the turmoil of the previous months. After a while, we found a shady spot under a large tree and spread out a blanket. Megan had packed a picnic lunch, and we sat down to eat. The kids chattered excitedly about the animals they had seen, their faces glowing with happiness. "Daddy, look at the giraffes!" Jack exclaimed, pointing to a nearby enclosure. I smiled, turning to see the tall, graceful animals. "They're amazing, aren't they?" Lily nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. "I wish we could have one at home." We all laughed at the thought of a giraffe in our living room. It was moments like these that made all the hardships worthwhile. Seeing my children happy and thriving, knowing they felt loved and secure, was everything I had hoped for. As the day wore on, we continued to explore the zoo, eventually making our way to the petting area. Jack and Lily were thrilled to interact with the animals, their laughter echoing around us. Megan and I stood back, watching them with smiles on our faces. "They're so happy," Megan said softly, leaning into me. "They are," I agreed, "and it's all thanks to you." She looked up at me, her eyes filled with love. We did this together. The zoo visit marked a turning point in our lives. It was a day of pure joy, a reminder that despite the challenges we had faced, we were building something beautiful. It strengthened my resolve to make Megan a permanent part of our family. A few weeks later, I decided it was time to take the next step. Megan and I had been discussing moving in together, and it felt like the right moment to make it official. One evening, after putting the kids to bed, I sat her down and took her hands in mine. "Megan," I began, my heart pounding with nervous excitement, "I've been thinking a lot about us and our future. You've brought so much joy and stability into our lives, and I can't imagine a future without you." She smiled, her eyes shining with tears. "I feel the same way." "Will you move in with us?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. "I want us to be a family, to build a life together." Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. "Yes, I would love that." We shared a long, heartfelt embrace, both of us overwhelmed with emotion. The decision to move in together was a significant step, one that symbolized our commitment to each other and to the future we were building. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity as we prepared for the move. Megan's apartment was packed up, and we made space for her belongings in our home. It was a time of excitement and anticipation, each of us eager to start this new chapter together. On a moving day, friends and family came to help, turning the process into a joyful celebration. The kids were especially excited and thrilled at the idea of having Megan with us all the time. Their energy was infectious, and by the end of the day, we were all exhausted but happy. That evening, as we sat in our newly blended home, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had led us to this moment. Surrounded by the people I loved, I knew that we were on the path to a bright and happy future. Our first night together in the new home was magical. We shared a special dinner, toasting new beginnings and the love that had brought us together. Jack and Lily went to bed with smiles on their faces, and Megan and I sat on the porch holding hands and talking about our dreams. "I'm so happy," she said, resting her head on my shoulder. "Me too," I replied, kissing her forehead. "This is just the beginning." As the stars twinkled above us, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together. Our love had been tested and had emerged stronger, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. With Megan by my side and Jack and Lily's laughter filling our home, I felt ready to embrace whatever the future held. Our journey was far from over, but I was confident that with love, patience, and perseverance, we would create a life filled with joy and happiness. This new chapter was just beginning, and I couldn't wait to see where it would take us. Life had finally settled into a steady, peaceful rhythm. Megan had moved in, and our home was now a true blend of our lives and love. Jack and Lily adapted quickly, delighted to have Megan around all the time. Our days were filled with simple joys, shared meals, family outings, and quiet evenings spent together. One crisp autumn morning, Megan and I took Jack and Lily to a local pumpkin patch. It was one of our favorite fall traditions, and the kids were bursting with excitement. As we wandered through the rows of pumpkins, their laughter filled the air, a joyful symphony that warmed my heart. "Look, Daddy, this one's perfect," Jack called out, struggling to lift a large pumpkin. Megan and I exchanged a smile, and I went over to help him. "It's a great choice, buddy. Let's get it." Lily found a smaller pumpkin and proudly showed it to Megan. "Can we carve this one, Megan?" "Of course, sweetheart," Megan replied, ruffling Lily's hair. "We'll make it the best jack-o'-lantern ever." After picking out our pumpkins, we enjoyed hot apple cider and freshly baked donuts. The crisp air and the vibrant colors of the changing leaves created a perfect backdrop for our family outing. It was a day filled with love and laughter, a reminder of how far we had come. As we drove home, Jack and Lily chattered excitedly in the back seat about their pumpkin carving plans. Megan rested her hand on mine, and I glanced over at her, feeling a surge of gratitude for the happiness she had brought into our lives. That evening, we carved the pumpkins together, creating funny and spooky faces. Jack and Lily were thrilled with the results, proudly displaying their creations on the front porch. We ended the night with a movie and popcorn, snuggled together on the couch. The weeks that followed were filled with similar moments of joy and contentment. Our new life was everything I had hoped for, and I felt a deep sense of peace. Megan and I continued to grow closer, our bond strengthening with each passing day. We talked about our future, making plans and dreaming of the life we wanted to build together. One evening, after the kids were in bed, Megan and I sat on the porch, enjoying a quiet moment under the stars. The cool breeze rustled the leaves, and the distant sound of crickets filled the air. "I've been thinking," Megan said softly, her eyes reflecting the moonlight, "about us and our future." I turned to her, curious. "What about it?" "I want to take the next step," she said, her voice steady. "I want to get married, to officially become a family." Her words took my breath away. I had been thinking the same thing, but hadn't found the right moment to bring it up. Hearing her say it made my heart swell with joy. "I want that too," I replied, taking her hands in mine. More than anything. We shared a long, heartfelt embrace, both of us overwhelmed with emotion. The decision to get married felt right, a natural progression in our journey together. It was a promise of a future filled with love, commitment, and endless possibilities. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of excitement as we began planning our wedding. We decided on a small, intimate ceremony with close friends and family, focusing on the love and unity that had brought us together. Jack and Lily were thrilled, eagerly helping with the preparations and dreaming about their roles in the wedding. One afternoon, as Megan and I were finalizing the guest list, I received an unexpected phone call from Elizabeth. It had been months since we last spoke, and our interactions were limited to necessary discussions about the kids. "Hi, Elizabeth," I said, trying to keep my tone neutral. "What's up?" "I need to talk to you," she replied, her voice tense. "It's important." Curiosity and apprehension mingled within me. "Okay, what's going on? Can we meet in person?" she asked. I agreed, setting a time to meet at a nearby cafe the following day. Hanging up, I felt a knot of anxiety form in my stomach. What could she possibly want to discuss? Megan noticed my tension and gave me a reassuring smile. "It'll be okay," she said. "Whatever it is, we'll handle it together." The next day, I arrived at the cafe a few minutes early, my mind racing with possibilities. Elizabeth walked in shortly after, looking anxious and uneasy. We sat down, and after a few moments of uncomfortable silence, she spoke. "I've made a lot of mistakes," she began, her voice shaky, "and I've been doing a lot of thinking. I want to apologize for everything I put you through. You didn't deserve any of it." Her unexpected apology caught me off guard. "Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. There's more," she continued, taking a deep breath. I've been seeing a therapist, and it's helped me realize a lot of things. I want to be a better mother to Jack and Lily, and I want to find a way for us to co-parent peacefully." Her words struck a chord within me. Despite the pain and betrayal, Jack and Lily's well-being had always been my top priority. "I want that too," I admitted. "For the kids." We talked for a while longer, discussing ways to improve our co-parenting relationship and ensure that Jack and Lily felt loved and supported by both of us. It was a difficult conversation, but it felt like a step in the right direction. Leaving the cafe, I felt a sense of relief. The path ahead was still uncertain, but the possibility of a more harmonious relationship with Elizabeth was a positive development. Returning home, I shared the conversation with Megan, who was supportive and understanding. "It's a good thing," she said, holding my hand, "for Jack and Lily, and you." With Megan by my side, I felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Our love had grown stronger through adversity, and together, we could handle anything. The calm before the storm had passed, and I was confident that our future was bright. Elizabeth's unexpected apology and desire to improve our co-parenting relationship marked a new chapter in our lives. It was a step toward healing and creating a stable environment for Jack and Lily. Despite the lingering scars of betrayal, I knew that fostering a cooperative relationship with Elizabeth was crucial for our children's well-being. Megan supported me every step of the way. She understood the complexities of our situation and encouraged me to approach this new arrangement with an open heart and mind. Her presence was a constant reminder of the love and happiness we were building together. Elizabeth and I began meeting regularly to discuss parenting strategies and schedules. Our conversations, once tense and fraught with emotion, gradually became more amicable. We focused on Jack and Lily's needs, setting aside our grievances for their sake. One Saturday morning, Elizabeth and I met at a local park to discuss the upcoming holidays. The kids played nearby, their laughter a soothing backdrop to our conversation. "I've been thinking about Thanksgiving," Elizabeth said, her tone thoughtful. "Maybe we could spend it together, for the kids." The suggestion caught me off guard. The idea of spending a holiday together, after everything that had happened, seemed daunting. But I could see the potential benefits for Jack and Lily. "I think that could work," I replied cautiously. "It might be good for them to see us getting along." Elizabeth nodded, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Great, we'll keep it simple. Just a family dinner." The weeks leading up to Thanksgiving were a flurry of preparations. Megan and I talked extensively about how to handle the day, ensuring that everyone felt comfortable and included. Her unwavering support gave me the confidence to move forward with the plan. When Thanksgiving arrived, we gathered at Elizabeth's house. The atmosphere was slightly tense, but everyone made an effort to keep things positive. Jack and Lily were thrilled to have all of us together, their excitement infectious. As we sat around the dinner table sharing a meal, I felt a sense of tentative hope. This was a new beginning, a chance to rebuild and create a better future for our children. It wasn't easy, but it was a step in the right direction. After dinner, we played board games and reminisced about past holidays. The walls that had once separated us seemed to dissolve, replaced by a shared commitment to our children's happiness. Megan's presence was a comforting anchor, her warmth and kindness helping to bridge the gaps. In the weeks that followed, Elizabeth and I continued to work on our co-parenting relationship. We communicated more openly, discussing school events, extracurricular activities, and everyday challenges. It wasn't always smooth sailing, but we were making progress. One evening, after a particularly productive conversation with Elizabeth, I sat with Megan in our living room, reflecting on how far we had come. "I never thought we'd get to this point," I admitted, "but it feels good to be working together for the kids." Megan smiled, her eyes filled with pride. "You've come a long way. I'm proud of you." Her words meant the world to me. Despite the difficulties, I knew that we were on the right path. Our love had weathered the storm, and we were stronger for it. As Christmas approached, we decided to spend the holiday together as well. We decorated a tree at our house, and Elizabeth brought the kids over to help. It was a heartwarming sight. Jack and Lily hanging ornaments, their faces glowing with joy. On Christmas morning, we gathered around the tree to open presents. The room was filled with laughter and excitement as the kids tore into their gifts. It was a moment of pure happiness, a reminder of the love and unity we had worked so hard to achieve. Later that day, we joined Elizabeth and her family for a holiday feast. The atmosphere was warm and festive, the tension of the past replaced by a sense of camaraderie. We shared stories, played games, and created new memories together. As the evening drew to a close, I stood outside with Megan, watching the kids play in the snow. The cold air was invigorating, a stark contrast to the warmth in my heart. "We did it," I said, wrapping my arm around her. "We did it." Megan smiled, leaning into me. "Yes, we did, and it's only going to get better from here." Her words were a promise, a testament to the strength of our love and the resilience of our family. We had faced incredible challenges and emerged stronger, united by a shared commitment to each other and our children. As the new year approached, I felt a renewed sense of hope and excitement. The future was filled with endless possibilities, and with Megan by my side, I knew that we could handle anything that came our way. Our journey was far from over, but I was confident that we were on the right path. Together, we would continue to build a life filled with love, laughter, and happiness. And no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, as a family. The new year arrived with a sense of renewal and hope. Our family had weathered the storm, and we were stronger than ever. Jack and Lily were thriving, and Megan and I were deeply in love. Our lives had settled into a comfortable routine, filled with love and laughter. As winter turned to spring, I began thinking more seriously about our future. Megan had become an integral part of our lives, and I couldn't imagine a future without her. We had talked about marriage before, but now I felt ready to take that step. One sunny Saturday, as we enjoyed a picnic in the park, I decided to share my thoughts with Megan. The kids were playing nearby, their laughter echoing through the air. I took Megan's hand, my heart pounding with nervous excitement. "Megan, there's something I've been wanting to talk to you about," I began, my voice steady but filled with emotion. She looked at me, her eyes filled with curiosity and warmth. "What is it?" "I've been thinking a lot about our future," I continued, "about how much you mean to me and the kids. You've brought so much joy and stability into our lives, and I can't imagine a future without you. I want to make it official. I want us to get married." Her eyes widened, and for a moment she seemed speechless. Then a smile spread across her face and she squeezed my hand. "I've been thinking the same thing," she said softly. "I love you and the kids more than anything. I want to spend the rest of my life with you." We embraced, both of us overwhelmed with emotion. The decision to get married felt right, a natural progression in our journey together. We spent the rest of the day talking about our plans, dreaming about the future we would build together. As we began planning our wedding, we wanted to involve Jack and Lily as much as possible. They were thrilled with the news, eagerly helping us with every detail. We decided on a small, intimate ceremony, surrounded by close friends and family. One evening, as we were finalizing the guest list, Megan looked at me with a thoughtful expression. "There's something I've been wanting to do," she said. "Something special." "What is it?" I asked, curious. "I want to propose to you," she replied, her eyes shining with determination. "I know you've already asked me, but I want to make it official too. I want to show you how much you mean to me." Her words took my breath away. "You want to propose to me?" She nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "Yes, will you let me?" I felt a surge of love and admiration for this incredible woman. "Of course," I said, pulling her into a tight embrace. "I'd be honored." A few days later, Megan planned a special evening for her proposal. She arranged for Jack and Lily to stay with Elizabeth for the night, giving us the house to ourselves. I was filled with anticipation, eager to see what she had planned. That evening, Megan led me to the backyard, which she had transformed into a magical setting. Twinkling lights hung from the trees, and a table was set with candles and flowers. It was a scene straight out of a fairy tale. We sat down to a delicious dinner, talking and laughing, our love for each other palpable. After dessert, Megan stood up, took my hand, and led me to the center of the yard. "I've never been good with grand gestures," she began, her voice filled with emotion. "But I want you to know how much you mean to me. You and the kids are my world. You've given me a family, a home, and a love I never thought possible." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Opening it, she revealed a simple, elegant ring. "Will you marry me?" she asked, her eyes glistening with tears. Tears filled my own eyes as I nodded, unable to speak. I pulled her into a passionate kiss, feeling a surge of love and gratitude. "Yes," I finally managed to say. 1,000 times yes. We spent the rest of the evening wrapped in each other's arms, basking in the joy of our engagement. It was a night filled with love, a promise of the beautiful future we were building together. The next morning, we shared the news with Jack and Lily, who were ecstatic. They couldn't wait to be a part of our special day, and their excitement was infectious. We began planning in earnest, every detail infused with love and joy. As the wedding day approached, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought us to this point. Despite the heartache and challenges, we had found a love that was true and lasting. Our wedding day was a celebration of that love, a testament to the resilience and strength of our family. Surrounded by our loved ones, we exchanged vows, promising to love and support each other for the rest of our lives. Jack and Lily stood by our sides, their smiles reflecting the happiness in our hearts. The ceremony was simple, yet beautiful, filled with laughter and tears of joy. As we walked down the aisle as husband and wife, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace and contentment. We had found our way through the darkness, and now we were stepping into a future filled with light and love. Our journey was far from over, but I knew that with Megan by my side, we could face anything. Together, we would continue to build a life filled with happiness, love, and endless possibilities. The path ahead was bright, and I couldn't wait to see where it would lead us. Our wedding day was nothing short of magical. Surrounded by family and close friends, Megan and I exchanged vows that promised a lifetime of love, support, and happiness. Jack and Lily were beaming with joy, their laughter and excitement adding to the enchantment of the day. As we walked down the aisle hand in hand, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace and contentment. This was the beginning of our happily ever after. After the wedding, Megan and I took a week-long honeymoon trip to a secluded cabin in the mountains. It was the perfect escape, offering us the tranquility and intimacy we craved after the whirlwind of wedding preparations. The kids stayed with Elizabeth, who had been incredibly supportive throughout the process, allowing us to focus entirely on each other. The cabin was nestled in a picturesque valley, surrounded by towering pines and serene lakes. Every morning we woke up to the sounds of nature, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the distant murmur of a nearby stream. It felt like a world away from the chaos of everyday life, a place where we could simply be. Our days were filled with leisurely hikes and exploring the scenic trails that wound through the mountains. We discovered hidden waterfalls, had picnics by the lake, and basked in the warm sunshine. Each moment felt like a precious gift, a chance to reconnect and deepen our bond. One afternoon, as we sat by the lake, dipping our toes in the cool water, Megan turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "I've been thinking a lot about our future," she said, her voice soft. I looked at her, curious. "What about it?" "I want to make sure we're always this happy," she replied, "that we continue to grow together, no matter what life throws at us." I smiled, taking her hand in mine. "We will. We've already been through so much and we've come out stronger. As long as we communicate and support each other, we'll be just fine." Her eyes sparkled with tears as she leaned in to kiss me. "I love you so much." "I love you too," I whispered, feeling a surge of gratitude for this incredible woman. Evenings at the cabin were equally enchanting. We cooked dinner together, savoring simple, delicious meals by candlelight. Afterward, we would sit on the porch, wrapped in blankets, watching the stars twinkle in the clear night sky. It was in those quiet moments that we talked about our dreams and hopes for the future, making plans and sharing our deepest thoughts. One night, as we sat by the fireplace, Megan rested her head on my shoulder. "I want to have a baby," she said softly. Her words caught me by surprise, but in the best possible way. I had always imagined expanding our family, and hearing Megan express the same desire filled me with joy. "Me too," I replied, kissing the top of her head. "I think it's the perfect next step for us." We spent the rest of the night talking about our future children, dreaming about what they would be like and how our lives would change. It was a beautiful, intimate conversation that brought us even closer together. As our honeymoon came to an end, we returned home feeling refreshed and more in love than ever. Jack and Lily were thrilled to see us, bombarding us with stories of their week with Elizabeth. It was heartwarming to see how much they had enjoyed their time, and I felt grateful for the positive relationship we had managed to build with Elizabeth. Settling back into our daily routine, Megan and I focused on creating a loving and stable environment for our family. We made a conscious effort to carve out quality time for each other, ensuring that our relationship remained strong and vibrant. A few months later, Megan came to me with the exciting news. She was pregnant. The joy and excitement that filled our home were indescribable. Jack and Lily were ecstatic at the prospect of having a baby sibling, and we all began preparing for the new addition to our family. The months that followed were a whirlwind of preparations. We transformed the spare room into a cozy nursery, complete with a crib, soft blankets, and colorful decorations. Jack and Lily helped us pick out toys and clothes, their enthusiasm making the experience even more special. Megan's pregnancy brought us closer together. We attended doctor's appointments, marveled at the ultrasound images, and felt the baby's first kicks. It was a time of incredible joy and anticipation, and we cherished every moment. Throughout the pregnancy, Megan and I made a point to continue nurturing our relationship. We went on date nights, took weekend getaways, and spent quiet evenings at home talking and dreaming about our future. It was a period of growth and deepening love, a testament to the strength of our bond. As Megan's due date approached, we grew increasingly excited and nervous. We knew that our lives were about to change most wonderfully, and we were ready to embrace the challenges and joys that parenthood would bring. One sunny afternoon, as we sat in the nursery, putting the finishing touches on the room, Megan turned to me with a smile. "Can you believe it? We're going to have a baby." I smiled back, my heart swelling with love. "I know, it's incredible. I can't wait to meet our little one." The day finally arrived when Megan went into labor. We rushed to the hospital, our hearts racing with anticipation. The hours that followed were intense, but Megan was incredible, her strength and determination inspiring me every step of the way. At last, our baby was born, a beautiful, healthy girl. Tears of joy streamed down my face as I held her for the first time, overwhelmed with love and gratitude. Megan looked at me, her eyes filled with happiness, and we shared a tender kiss. "Welcome to the world, little one," I whispered, gazing at our daughter. "We love you so much." Jack and Lily were over the moon when they met their baby sister. Their excitement and love for her were evident, and I knew that our family was complete. The journey that had brought us here had been filled with challenges and heartache, but it had also led us to the most incredible happiness. As we settled into our new life as a family of 5, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Despite the twists and turns, we had found our way to a place of profound love and joy. Megan and I had built a life together, filled with laughter, support, and endless possibilities. The future was bright, and I knew that with Megan by my side, we could face anything. Together, we would continue to build a life filled with happiness, love, and adventure. Our journey was far from over, but I was confident that the best was yet to come. The arrival of our baby girl, Emma, marked the beginning of an exciting new chapter in our lives. Megan and I were overjoyed, and Jack and Lily couldn't get enough of their baby sister. Our home was filled with the sweet sounds of a newborn, soft coos, tiny cries, and the infectious laughter of her siblings. It was a time of pure bliss, though not without its challenges. The first few weeks were a whirlwind of sleepless nights and endless diaper changes. Megan and I took turns tending to Emma, each of us savoring the precious moments of holding her close and watching her grow. Despite the exhaustion, we found joy in the little things. Emma's first smile, the way she grasped our fingers, and the way her eyes seemed to light up when she saw us. One evening, as we rocked Emma to sleep, Megan looked at me with tired but happy eyes. "We're doing this," she said softly. "We're parents to 3 amazing kids." I smiled, feeling a surge of pride and love. "Yes, we are, and we're doing a great job." Our family quickly settled into a new routine. Jack and Lily were eager to help with Emma, proudly taking on their roles as big brother and sister. They sang to her, brought her toys, and even helped with feeding times. Their love and enthusiasm made the transition smoother and filled our home with even more love and laughter. As Emma grew, so did our bond as a family. We celebrated her milestones together, her first rollover, her first word, and her first steps. Each achievement was met with cheers and applause, a testament to the support and encouragement that surrounded her. Megan and I made a conscious effort to nurture our relationship amidst the chaos of parenthood. We scheduled regular date nights, even if it was just a quiet dinner at home after the kids were in bed. We talked about our dreams, our fears, and our plans for the future, always reminding each other of the love that had brought us together. One Saturday afternoon, we decided to take a family outing to the beach. The weather was perfect, and the kids were excited about building sandcastles and playing in the waves. As we set up our spot on the sand, I watched as Megan helped Emma into her tiny swimsuit, her eyes sparkling with happiness. "Ready to have some fun?" I asked, scooping Jack and Lily up in my arms. "Yeah!" they shouted in unison, their faces glowing with excitement. We spent the day splashing in the water, building elaborate sandcastles and collecting seashells. Emma's laughter filled the air as she experienced the beach for the first time, her chubby legs kicking in delight as the waves lapped at her feet. It was a day of pure joy, a reminder of how far we had come and the beautiful life we were building together. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the water, we gathered around a small bonfire to roast marshmallows. Jack and Lily's faces were sticky with melted chocolate, and Emma sat on Megan's lap, her eyes wide with wonder as she watched the flames dance. "This is perfect," Megan said, her voice filled with contentment. "I couldn't ask for anything more." I wrapped my arm around her, pulling her close. "Me neither. This is everything I've ever wanted." The months that followed were filled with more adventures and milestones. Jack and Lily started school, and Megan and I juggled the demands of work and parenting with the help of our supportive network of friends and family. Elizabeth remained a positive presence, and her relationship with the kids continued to improve. We co-parented effectively, always prioritizing the well-being and happiness of Jack and Lily. One evening, as we sat together in the living room, Megan looked at me with a thoughtful expression. "I've been thinking," she began, "what if we started a family tradition, something we do every year to celebrate our journey and the love we have for each other?" I smiled, loving the idea. "What do you have in mind?" "Maybe a yearly family trip," she suggested. "It doesn't have to be far or fancy, just something that allows us to spend quality time together and make new memories." "I love that idea," I replied. "Let's do it." We decided that our first family trip would be to a nearby cabin in the woods, a place where we could disconnect from the world and focus on each other. The kids were thrilled at the prospect of a new adventure, and we eagerly began planning our getaway. The cabin was nestled in a picturesque forest, surrounded by towering trees and a tranquil lake. It was the perfect escape, offering us the chance to unwind and reconnect. We spent our days hiking, fishing, and exploring the natural beauty around us. In the evenings, we gathered around the fireplace, sharing stories and playing games. One night as we sat by the fire, Megan leaned against me, her head resting on my shoulder. "This is exactly what I envisioned," she said softly, "a tradition that brings us closer together and reminds us of what truly matters." I kissed her forehead, feeling a deep sense of contentment. "It's perfect, just like our family." The trip was a resounding success, and we returned home with hearts full of love and minds brimming with new memories. It became the first of many annual family trips, a tradition that we cherished and looked forward to each year. As time went on, our lives continued to evolve, filled with the ups and downs that come with raising a family. There were challenges and setbacks, but we faced them together, always leaning on each other for support. Megan and I grew stronger as a couple, our love deepening with each passing day. Through it all, I was reminded of the journey that had brought us to this point. From the heartache of betrayal to the joy of new beginnings, we had overcome so much and emerged stronger and more united. Our family was a testament to the power of love, resilience, and hope. As I watched Jack, Lily, and Emma grow, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. We had built a life filled with happiness, love, and endless possibilities. And with Megan by my side, I knew that the future would be just as bright and beautiful as the present. Our journey was far from over, but I was confident that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, as a family. The path we had traveled was filled with twists and turns, but it had led us to a place of profound love and joy, and for that, I was eternally grateful. As the years went by, our family continued to thrive. Jack and Lily grew into curious, energetic children, and Emma blossomed into a joyful toddler. Megan and I navigated the everyday challenges of parenting, always supporting each other and finding joy in the little moments. Our annual family trips became cherished traditions, creating a treasure trove of memories. However, life has a way of throwing curveballs, and we soon found ourselves facing unexpected challenges that tested our strength and resilience. It all began with Megan's health. One evening, as we were preparing dinner, she mentioned feeling unusually fatigued and dizzy. At first, we brushed it off as the result of our busy lives and the demands of parenting. But as the days turned into weeks, her symptoms persisted and worsened. "You should see a doctor," I urged her one evening, my concern growing. "It's probably nothing serious, but it's better to be sure." Megan reluctantly agreed, and the next day she went in for a checkup. The waiting was agonizing, and I found myself anxiously pacing the floor, hoping for good news. When Megan returned, her face was pale, and my heart sank. "What did the doctor say?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "They're not sure yet," she replied, her voice trembling. "They need to run some more tests." The next few weeks were a blur of doctor's appointments, tests, and anxious waiting. The uncertainty was overwhelming, and we tried our best to shield the kids from our worries. Jack and Lily sensed that something was wrong, and their concern only added to the weight we were carrying. Finally, we received the diagnosis. Megan had an autoimmune disorder. The news hit us like a ton of bricks. While it wasn't life-threatening, it was a chronic condition that would require ongoing treatment and lifestyle adjustments. "We'll get through this," I assured Megan, holding her close. "We'll face it together, just like we always do." Megan's strength and resilience amazed me. Despite the challenges, she remained positive and determined to manage her condition. We worked together to create a new routine that included her treatments and adjustments to our lifestyle. It wasn't easy, but our love and commitment to each other saw us through. The kids were surprisingly adaptable. We explained Megan's condition to them in simple terms, emphasizing that she would still be the same loving mother they knew. Their support and understanding were incredible, and they often helped out around the house to ease the burden on Megan. Despite the challenges, we continued to make beautiful memories together. Our family trips became even more precious, a reminder of the love and joy that bound us together. Megan's health became a new normal, and we learned to navigate it with grace and resilience. But life wasn't done testing us yet. One summer, as we were preparing for our annual trip to the mountains, we received devastating news. My father, who had always been a pillar of strength and support, was diagnosed with advanced stage cancer. The prognosis was grim, and we were told to prepare for the worst. The news shattered me. My father had been my rock, the person I turned to for advice and guidance. The thought of losing him was unbearable. Megan and I sat down with the kids to explain what was happening, and their tears mirrored our heartbreak. We decided to spend as much time with my father as possible, cherishing every moment we had left. Our family trips took on a new significance, becoming a way to create lasting memories with him. Despite his illness, my father remained positive and strong, his love for his family shining through even in the darkest times. One evening, as we sat by the fire during one of our mountain trips, my father took my hand. "I'm proud of you, son," he said, his voice weak but full of love. "You've built a beautiful life and a wonderful family. Keep cherishing every moment." His words stayed with me, a reminder of the importance of love, family, and resilience. We returned home with heavy hearts, knowing that our time with him was limited. Over the next few months, we made frequent trips to visit him, surrounding him with love and support. When my father passed away, the grief was overwhelming. But amidst the sorrow, there was also a sense of gratitude for the time we had shared and the lessons he had taught me. His legacy of strength and love lived on in our family, guiding us through the toughest times. Megan and I leaned on each other more than ever, finding solace in our love and the support of our friends and family. We continued to navigate the challenges of her health and the loss of my father, always holding on to the belief that we could overcome anything together. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Megan took my hand. "We've been through so much," she said softly, "but we're still here, still strong." I nodded, feeling a surge of love and gratitude for this incredible woman. "We are," I agreed, "and we'll keep moving forward, no matter what." The journey had been filled with unexpected challenges, but it had also strengthened our bond and deepened our love. Together, we faced each obstacle with courage and resilience, always finding our way back to each other. As we looked out at the horizon, I knew that no matter what the future held, we would face it together. Our love and the strength of our family would see us through, guiding us toward a future filled with hope and happiness. The months following my father's passing were a mix of deep sorrow and profound gratitude. We focused on celebrating his life and the memories we had created together. As Megan continued to manage her health, we found solace in our growing family, our love for each other, and the strength we derived from overcoming each challenge together. Despite the emotional turbulence, life continued to bring moments of joy and surprise. One particular surprise came on a quiet Sunday morning. Megan and I were enjoying a rare moment of calm, sipping coffee on the porch while the kids played in the backyard. "Megan, there's something I've been wanting to talk to you about," I began, feeling the need to discuss our next steps in life, maybe another trip or a project to keep our spirits high. "Me too," she replied, a mysterious smile playing on her lips. "You go first," I offered, curious about what she had on her mind. She took a deep breath, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I've been feeling a bit off lately, so I went to see the doctor. And I'm pregnant." The news hit me like a bolt of lightning. "Pregnant?" I repeated, a mixture of surprise and joy flooding my senses. "Yes, we're going to have another baby," Megan confirmed, her smile widening. I felt an overwhelming surge of happiness and love. I pulled her into a tight embrace, tears of joy filling my eyes. "This is amazing, Megan. I can't believe it." We spent the rest of the day in a blissful daze, sharing the news with Jack, Lily, and Emma. Their reactions were priceless, Jack and Lily jumping with excitement, and Emma clapping her hands, even though she didn't fully understand what was happening. The news of the new baby brought a renewed sense of purpose and joy to our lives. Megan's pregnancy became a focal point of our family, bringing us even closer together. We involved the kids in every step of the process, from setting up the nursery to choosing names. As Megan's due date approached, we faced the usual mix of excitement and nervous anticipation. We made sure to have everything ready for the baby's arrival, our home buzzing with activity and preparation. Despite the challenges we had faced, our family's love and support remained unwavering. One crisp autumn evening, Megan went into labor. We rushed to the hospital, our hearts racing with anticipation. The labor was intense but swift, and soon we welcomed our beautiful baby boy into the world. Holding him in my arms, I felt a profound sense of completeness and gratitude. "We did it," I whispered to Megan, tears streaming down my face. "He's perfect." Megan looked up at me, her eyes filled with love and exhaustion. "Yes, he is, and so are you." We named him Ethan, a strong and fitting name for our little miracle. Jack, Lily, and Emma were overjoyed to meet their baby brother, showering him with love and affection. Our family felt complete, filled with a renewed sense of hope and happiness. As we settled into life with a newborn once again, we embraced the chaos and joy that came with it. Our days were filled with feedings, diaper changes, and sleepless nights, but also with laughter, cuddles, and precious moments of bonding. One evening, as we sat together on the porch watching the kids play, Megan turned to me with a contented smile. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the journey we had shared. "We have, and I wouldn't change a thing." Megan leaned against me, her head resting on my shoulder. "Neither would I. This is our story, and it's perfect just the way it is." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over our home, I reflected on the surprises and challenges that had shaped our lives. Each twist and turn brought us closer together, strengthening our bond and deepening our love. Our journey was far from over, but I knew that with Megan by my side, we could face anything. Together, we would continue to build a life filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. The future was bright, and I was excited to see where it would lead us next. With our family complete and our hearts full, we embraced the adventure of parenthood with open arms. No matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, united by the love and resilience that had brought us this far. Life with a newborn is never easy, and Ethan's arrival brought with it the familiar chaos of sleepless nights and endless diaper changes. But amidst the exhaustion, there was a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. Our family had grown, and with it, so had our capacity for love and resilience. Megan's health remained a constant consideration. We carefully balanced her treatments and the demands of our growing family, ensuring she had the support and rest she needed. Despite the challenges, Megan remained a beacon of strength and positivity, her love for our family unwavering. One particularly challenging night, Ethan was unusually fussy, crying inconsolably. I rocked him gently, pacing the nursery while Megan rested in bed, her energy depleted from a long day. As I held Ethan, I couldn't help but think about how far we had come and the strength we had found in each other. "Shh, it's okay, little guy," I whispered, my voice soothing. "Daddy's here." Eventually, Ethan settled, his tiny fingers gripping mine as he drifted off to sleep. I placed him gently in his crib and stood there for a moment, watching him breathe. The love I felt for him was overwhelming, a reminder of the incredible journey we were on. The next morning, I found Megan in the kitchen, preparing breakfast for the kids. She looked tired but smiled when she saw me. "How's our little night owl?" she asked, a hint of amusement in her voice. "He finally settled," I replied, wrapping my arms around her. "You should have seen him. He's already so strong." Megan leaned into me, her eyes closing in contentment. "Just like his daddy." Our days were a whirlwind of activity. Jack and Lily were thriving in school, their curiosity and energy boundless. Emma was growing quickly, her laughter filling our home with joy. And Ethan, our little miracle, was a constant source of wonder and love. Despite the challenges, we made a conscious effort to carve out time for each other. Date nights became a cherished ritual, even if they were just quiet dinners at home after the kids were in bed. We talked about our dreams, our fears, and our plans for the future, always reminding each other of the love that had brought us together. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Megan took my hand. "I've been thinking a lot about balance," she said softly, "about how we juggle everything. Our kids, our work, my health. Sometimes it feels overwhelming." I squeezed her hand, understanding the weight of her words. "It's a lot, but we're doing it, and we're doing it together." She nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "I know, and I'm so grateful for you, for us. I just want to make sure we're taking care of each other too." "We will," I promised. "We'll find our balance, together." In the months that followed, we made a concerted effort to prioritize self-care and quality time. Megan joined a support group for people with autoimmune disorders, finding solace in connecting with others who understood her struggles. I took up running again, using it as a way to clear my mind and stay healthy. We also sought help when needed. We hired a part-time nanny to assist with the kids, giving us some much-needed breathing room. It wasn't easy to accept that we couldn't do it all on our own, but it was a necessary step for our well-being. One sunny afternoon, we decided to take a family hike. The fresh air and natural beauty provided a perfect escape from our daily routines. As we walked along the trail, Jack and Lily raced ahead, their laughter echoing through the trees. Megan and I followed with Emma and Ethan, enjoying the peaceful surroundings. "This is exactly what we needed," Megan said, taking a deep breath. "A chance to reconnect with nature and with each other." I smiled, feeling the same sense of contentment. "It's perfect, just like our family." The hike was a reminder of the importance of balance and the strength we found in each other. Despite the challenges, we were committed to creating a loving, supportive environment for our children and for ourselves. As the days turned into weeks, we continued to navigate the ups and downs of parenthood. There were difficult moments, times when the weight of our responsibilities felt overwhelming, but there were also countless moments of joy. Ethan's first steps, Emma's infectious giggles, and Jack and Lily's endless curiosity. One evening, as we sat together in the living room, surrounded by our children, Megan looked at me with a smile. "We've created something beautiful, haven't we?" I nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride and gratitude. "Yes, we have, and it's only going to get better." Our journey was far from over, but we faced each challenge with courage and resilience, always finding our way back to each other. With Megan by my side and our children's laughter filling our home, I knew that we could handle anything life threw at us. The future was bright, and I was excited to see where it would lead us. Together, we would continue to build a life filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. And no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them as a family, united by the strength of our love and the resilience of our spirit. As the years passed, the challenges we faced as a family became a testament to our strength and resilience. Megan's health, though managed, remained a constant concern. Balancing our busy lives with her treatments and the needs of our growing family required patience, love, and unwavering support. Despite the hardships, we found joy in the everyday moments, cherishing our time together. One spring morning, Megan and I decided to take a much-needed weekend getaway. Elizabeth graciously offered to look after the kids, giving us the rare opportunity to focus on ourselves and our relationship. We chose a cozy bed and breakfast in a nearby town, nestled in a picturesque valley surrounded by blooming wildflowers. As we drove through the scenic countryside, the stress and worries of our daily lives began to melt away. The peacefulness of the landscape, with its rolling hills and vibrant colors, provided a soothing balm for our weary souls. "This is exactly what we needed," Megan said, reaching over to squeeze my hand. "A chance to reconnect and recharge." I smiled, feeling the same sense of relief. "I agree. It's been too long since we've had time just for us." The bed and breakfast was a charming, old-fashioned inn, with cozy rooms and a welcoming atmosphere. Our room overlooked a lush garden, filled with the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers. We spent the first afternoon exploring the town, browsing quaint shops, and enjoying a leisurely lunch at a local cafe. In the evening, we returned to the inn and settled into the comfortable armchairs by the fireplace. The flickering flames cast a warm glow, creating a perfect setting for heartfelt conversations. "Megan," I began, my voice filled with emotion, "I know it hasn't been easy, but I want you to know how much I appreciate everything you do for our family. Your strength and love inspire me every day." She looked at me, her eyes glistening with tears. "Thank you. And I couldn't do it without you. You've been my rock, always there to support me and keep our family strong." We sat in silence for a moment, simply enjoying each other's presence. The bond between us had grown stronger through the trials we had faced, and I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the life we had built together. The next day, we decided to go on a hike through the nearby nature reserve. The trail led us through dense forests, across babbling brooks, and up to a breathtaking viewpoint overlooking the valley. As we reached the top, we stood hand in hand, taking in the stunning panorama. "This is beautiful," Megan said, her voice filled with awe. "It makes everything we've been through worth it." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of peace. "Absolutely. It's moments like these that remind us why we keep fighting, why we never give up." We sat down on a large rock, enjoying the view and the serenity of the moment. Megan leaned her head on my shoulder, and I wrapped my arm around her, feeling a sense of completeness. As we made our way back down the trail, we talked about our dreams for the future. Despite the challenges, we remained hopeful and committed to creating a life filled with love and happiness for our family. Returning to the inn, we enjoyed a delicious homemade dinner prepared by the innkeepers. The evening was filled with laughter and light-hearted conversation, a perfect end to a perfect day. On our last morning at the bed and breakfast, we took a stroll through the garden, savoring the final moments of our getaway. The weekend had been a time of healing and reconnection, a reminder of the love and commitment that bound us together. As we drove back home, I felt a renewed sense of energy and purpose. We had faced many challenges, but our love had only grown stronger. Together, we could overcome anything. Back home, we were greeted with hugs and excitement from Jack, Lily, Emma, and Ethan. The kids were eager to hear about our trip, and we shared stories and photos from our adventure. In the weeks that followed, we carried the sense of peace and renewal from our getaway into our daily lives. We continued to support each other, balancing the demands of parenthood, work, and Megan's health with love and resilience. One evening, as we sat together in the living room, surrounded by our children, Megan looked at me with a contented smile. "We've created something truly beautiful," she said softly. I nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride and gratitude. "Yes, we have, and it's only going to get better." Our journey was far from over, but we faced each challenge with courage and resilience, always finding our way back to each other. With Megan by my side and our children's laughter filling our home, I knew that we could handle anything life threw at us. The future was bright, and I was excited to see where it would lead us. Together, we would continue to build a life filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. And no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them as a family, united by the strength of our love and the resilience of our spirit. As our children grew, their accomplishments became a source of immense pride and joy for Megan and me. Jack, Lily, Emma, and Ethan were all unique, each with their talents and passions. Watching them discover and nurture these gifts was one of the greatest rewards of parenthood. Jack, our eldest, had always been curious and adventurous. As he entered his teenage years, his interest in science and technology blossomed. He spent countless hours tinkering with electronics, building robots, and conducting experiments in the garage, which we had turned into his lab. One evening, Jack approached me with a wide grin on his face. "Dad, I have something to show you." He led me to the garage where a small robot whirred to life on the workbench. It moved around, responding to commands Jack issued through his laptop. "I built it from scratch," he said proudly. "It can navigate obstacles and even recognize simple voice commands." I was blown away by his ingenuity and dedication. "Jack, this is incredible. You've got a real talent here." He beamed, clearly thrilled by my reaction. "Thanks, Dad. I'm thinking about entering it at the regional science fair. Do you think I have a chance?" "Absolutely," I replied, giving him a reassuring pat on the back. "You've worked so hard on this, and it shows. I'm sure the judges will be just as impressed as I am." As the science fair approached, our entire family rallied around Jack, offering support and encouragement. On the day of the event, we watched with pride as he presented his project to the judges, explaining the intricate details of his robot with confidence and enthusiasm. When the winners were announced, Jack's name was called for first place. The look of sheer joy on his face was unforgettable. We celebrated his victory with a special family dinner, toasting his hard work and success. Lily, our creative soul, had always been drawn to the arts. She loved to paint, draw, and write stories, often losing herself in her imaginative world. Her room was filled with colorful canvases and notebooks brimming with fantastical tales. One afternoon, she came to me with a stack of papers. "Dad, I wrote a play. Would you read it?" I took the pages from her, marveling at the intricate plot and well-developed characters. "Lily, this is amazing. You have a real gift for storytelling." She blushed, clearly pleased. "Do you think we could put it on, like at school or something?" I smiled, loving her enthusiasm. "I think that's a wonderful idea. Let's talk to your teacher and see if we can make it happen." With the support of her school, Lily's play was brought to life on stage. She took on the role of director, guiding her classmates through rehearsals and helping with costumes and sets. On opening night, Megan and I sat in the front row, beaming with pride as we watched Lily's story unfold. The play was a resounding success, earning rave reviews from teachers and parents alike. Lily's confidence soared, and she began to dream of a future in the arts. We encouraged her every step of the way, knowing that her creativity would lead her to amazing places. Emma, our sweet and compassionate child, had a natural affinity for animals. She spent hours caring for our family pets and often volunteered at the local animal shelter. Her gentle touch and kind heart made her a favorite among the shelter staff and the animals she cared for. One day, she came to us with a proposal. "Mom, Dad, I want to start a fundraiser for the animal shelter. They need new equipment and supplies, and I think we can help." Megan and I were incredibly proud of her initiative. "That's a fantastic idea, Emma. How do you want to do it?" She thought for a moment. "Maybe a bake sale? And we could make posters and ask for donations." We helped Emma organize the event, baking treats and spreading the word throughout our community. The response was overwhelming, and Emma's bake sale raised more money than we ever expected. She proudly presented the funds to the shelter, knowing she had made a real difference. Ethan, our youngest, was still discovering his interests, but his boundless energy and curiosity hinted at a bright future. He loved to explore the outdoors, collecting rocks and bugs, and asking endless questions about the world around him. One weekend, we decided to go on a family camping trip. As we hiked through the forest, Ethan's eyes lit up with wonder. "Look, Dad, a deer," he whispered, pointing to a graceful doe in the distance. We spent the weekend immersed in nature, teaching Ethan about the plants and animals we encountered. His excitement and eagerness to learn reminded us of the importance of nurturing his curiosity and helping him explore the world. As the years passed, each of our children continued to grow and flourish in their unique ways. Jack excelled in his studies, eventually earning a scholarship to a prestigious engineering program. Lily pursued her passion for the arts, enrolling in a renowned creative writing program and publishing her first book. Emma dedicated herself to animal welfare, becoming a veterinarian and opening her animal rescue center. Ethan, inspired by his love of nature, studied environmental science and embarked on a career dedicated to conservation. Through it all, Megan and I remained their biggest supporters, celebrating their achievements and guiding them through the inevitable challenges. Our family's journey had been filled with ups and downs, but it had also been a testament to the power of love, resilience, and the unwavering bond that held us together. One evening, as we gathered for a family dinner, I looked around the table at my incredible wife and our amazing children. "I'm so proud of every one of you," I said, my voice filled with emotion. "You've all accomplished so much, and I can't wait to see what the future holds." Megan smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "Yes, we have, and it's only going to get better." Our journey was far from over, but we faced each challenge with courage and resilience, always finding our way back to each other. With Megan by my side and our children's achievements lighting the way, I knew that we could handle anything life threw at us. With each passing year, our family grew stronger, our bond deepening with every shared experience and milestone. Megan and I watched with pride as our children pursued their passions and dreams, each carving out their unique paths in the world. As parents, we found immense joy in their successes and supported them through their struggles. Our journey together was a testament to the power of love and resilience. One crisp autumn evening, as we gathered for dinner, Jack announced he had been offered an internship at a leading robotics company. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he shared the news. "It's an amazing opportunity, and it could lead to a full-time position after I graduate." We cheered, celebrating his achievement. "That's incredible, Jack," I said, raising my glass. "We're so proud of you." Lily, not to be outdone, shared that she had been invited to read from her latest book at a major literary festival. "It's a dream come true," she said, her face glowing with happiness. "I can't believe I'm going to be a part of it." Our family's joy was palpable as we toasted to Lily's success. "You've worked so hard for this, Lily," Megan said, her voice filled with pride. "You deserve every bit of it." Emma, always dedicated to her work with animals, shared her plans to expand her animal rescue center. "We're getting more support from the community, and I'm thinking about opening a second location," she said, her passion evident. "There's so much more we can do to help." We applauded her ambition. "You're making such a difference, Emma," I said, beaming with pride. "Your dedication is truly inspiring." Ethan, now a teenager, excitedly shared his latest environmental project. "I'm organizing a community cleanup event," he said. "It's going to raise awareness about conservation and get more people involved." Our hearts swelled with pride as we listened to Ethan's plans. "That's fantastic, Ethan," Megan said, hugging him. "You're already making the world a better place." As our children shared their dreams and accomplishments, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. Despite the challenges we had faced, our family had emerged stronger and more united. Megan and I had created a loving, supportive environment that allowed our children to thrive, and we couldn't be prouder of the people they were becoming. One evening, after the kids had gone to bed, Megan and I sat on the porch, wrapped in blankets and watching the stars. "Can you believe how far we've come?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder. "Our kids are amazing." I nodded, feeling a surge of pride and love. "They are, and it's all because of you," I said, pulling her closer. "You've been the heart and soul of this family." Megan smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. "We did this together. I couldn't have asked for a better partner." We sat in comfortable silence for a while, reflecting on our journey. Despite the ups and downs, we had built a life filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. Our family was a testament to the power of resilience and the strength of our bond. As we looked to the future, we knew there would be more challenges to face, but we also knew that we could overcome anything as long as we had each other. Our love had been tested and had only grown stronger, and we were ready to embrace whatever came next. The following spring, we decided to take another family trip, this time to a beautiful coastal town we had always wanted to visit. The anticipation of new adventures brought a renewed sense of excitement and joy to our lives. We spent our days exploring the charming town, relaxing on the beach, and enjoying each other's company. One evening, as we watched the sunset over the ocean, Megan turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "I've been thinking," she said, "about our future. Now that the kids are growing up and pursuing their dreams, maybe it's time for us to focus on some of our own." I looked at her intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" "Well, we've always talked about traveling more," she replied. "And there are so many places we haven't seen. Maybe we could start planning some trips, just the two of us." I smiled, loving the idea. "I think that's a wonderful plan. We deserve to explore and create new memories together." As we watched the sun dip below the horizon, we made a promise to each other. We would continue to support our children in their endeavors while also embracing the adventures and dreams we had as a couple. Our journey was far from over, and there was so much more to see and experience. Back home, we began to plan our first trip, a tour of Europe's historic cities. We pored over maps and travel guides, our excitement growing with each discovery. The kids were thrilled for us, encouraging us to follow our dreams just as we had encouraged them. The anticipation of our upcoming adventure brought a renewed sense of energy and joy to our lives. We balanced our time between supporting our children and planning our travels, finding a new rhythm that allowed us to nurture our relationship and explore the world together. One evening, as we sat at the kitchen table, finalizing the details of our trip, Jack walked in. "You two are going to have an amazing time," he said, grinning. "You deserve it." Lily joined us, nodding in agreement. "You've always been there for us. It's time for you to enjoy yourselves." Emma and Ethan echoed their siblings' sentiments, their support and love evident. "We'll take care of everything while you're gone," Emma said, her confidence reassuring. "Just focus on having the best time." As we prepared for our journey, we felt a profound sense of gratitude for our incredible children. Their encouragement and support made us even more excited for the adventures ahead. The day of our departure finally arrived, and as we hugged our children goodbye, we felt a mixture of excitement and nostalgia. "Take lots of pictures," Ethan said, his eyes shining with anticipation. "We will," Megan promised, smiling, "and we'll bring back stories to share with all of you." As we boarded the plane, hand in hand, we knew that this trip was just the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. Our journey had been filled with love, challenges, and countless beautiful moments, and we were ready to embrace whatever came next. With each passing day, our love continued to grow, strengthened by the memories we had created and the dreams we had yet to fulfill. Together, we would explore the world, cherish our family, and face every challenge with the resilience and courage that had brought us this far. The future was bright, and we were ready to embark on this new adventure, confident that our love and the strength of our family would guide us through anything life had in store. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos.